Hi, welcome to another episode of Warden Stories. My name is Darren Hill. I'm a communication and education specialist here at the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife Conservation. Just as a reminder, Warden Stories is where I get to sit down with wardens from the past, maybe they were retired, to currently working, and wardens that I want to, get stories from them. A lot of people want to hear cool game warden stories, and that's what I'm trying to do is allow you guys to hear some of these cool game warden stories that we have. Today, I've got a really great guest. Just sort of new to the department, not sort of, but he's not been on very long. He's up in Nowata County. And in Nowata County, he's just worked a really awesome case. But anyway, this is Dartanion Tilley.
How's it going?
Good. How are you, Dartanion?
Pretty good.
Thanks for coming on today. So before we get started, Dartanion's got a really cool story about a bus that he just got through working. And unfortunately, and I say cool, it's just interesting. And it's unfortunate what's happened, but it's pretty riveting. But before we get there, Dartanion, how long have you been a game warden now?
Today would be 2 years from when I commissioned.
2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Brand new.
Brand new.
Great. Now, I've heard it said by some of your supervisors and co-workers that you're sort of like the best hunting dog we've got on the case right now. You're turning over every rock, just sniffing up every tree. Was that pretty good?
I've gotten some pretty good cases between, being able to find bullets inside a deer that, it's a small bullet inside of a little hole and we don't know where the deer's at and we end up finding it.
Yeah.
And then being able to actually get evidence from those cases.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, did you always want to be a game warden?
I actually didn't know it was an option until I was in my junior year of college.
Really? Where'd you go to college?
Rogers State University.
Rogers State. And How did you find out it was an option at that point?
I was in pre-med and I was shadowing some doctors and they were like, hey, this is not the job. Like you're going to go into a lot of debt. And so I talked to my advisor and she told me like, hey, we have this other degree program. You're not going to lose any of your college time. And with that, you'll be able to be a park ranger or a game warden, or you can go teach biology in high school.
Yeah.
And so I was like, what does a game warden do? Like, what's their full-time job? And she said, well, we have a couple that went here, call them and go ride along. So that's what I did.
Wow. And so did you grow up hunting and fishing or in the outdoors at all?
We grew up fishing a lot. Fished a lot of Bird Creek and Keystone Lake.
Okay.
And then, we went squirrel hunting as kids, but I didn't start deer hunting until I was 18 years old.
Now that you've been on a couple of years as a game warden, what is different, or maybe what is exactly like what you expected to be a game warden?
So prior to this, I was a deputy. So the law enforcement side of it's the same. Now, when you get into what they expect from us is way different. I was told that, you kind of make your own schedule. You're going to make some really big cases. The numbers look crazy, especially when you start talking about fines and restitution and everything else. Prior to this, I did a few years with the sheriff's office, and we would go hit houses on drug raids and get crazy amounts of meth and dope and everything else. And then Jake Bershey, the game warden in Pawnee County, came in and wrote 2 alligator snapping turtle tickets. And we seized 5 pounds of meth off this house. And his tickets were worth more than all the meth that we found. Wow.
We take game warden laws seriously here in Oklahoma, and I think that's a good thing.
It is.
Yeah. We should respect our wildlife, right?
Right.
It's all part of that conservation story.
Yes.
Good deal. Now, hold on, because I've got some tips from Dartanion by the end, but I've got a case that you just got through working. I'm going to read a little bit of it so it'll highlight how this worked. You recently led an extensive investigation into a poaching spree. 2 teenagers indiscriminately shot animals from roadways across the county, illegally killing 18 head of cattle, 7 deer, 5 turkeys, 42 migratory birds, 2 hawks, an owl, and multiple domestic chickens taken from a local family's front yard. The investigation ultimately resulted in 221 criminal charges, including unlawful take of wildlife, reckless discharge of a firearm, shooting from a roadway, and hunting with the aid of a motorized vehicle. Wow. And one of the people was just 16.
Both of them were 16.
So both of them were 16.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And amazing. So how'd this happen? Like, tell me the start.
So we got a call April 11th, 2025.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And whenever this case started, the phone call came into the sheriff's office that these 2 kids had shot at another juvenile. So a 16-year-old is out working on his truck in the driveway, and this car rolls by and takes a shot in the front yard. The sheriff's office, they were serving a search warrant on another house across the county. So the highway patrol came down to start looking for this car. After they took the shot at the initial house, they went to the next house and took a shot at that house. And in front of that house was a guy and holding his 2-year-old girl. So it's coming in. The call's coming in as shots fired, and they're shooting at everybody.
Wow.
So the highway patrol gets down there. Trooper Stephen Clark ended up catching them, and holding them at gunpoint, getting them under arrest. The sheriff's office came over and started doing their investigation. And that's when I got a phone call. So I had just gotten off work. I was, at the house, and my wife is getting ready to serve dinner, and she is not happy that I'm getting ready to go write some squirrel tickets. Cause that's what I got the phone call for was,
yeah.
They had shot a squirrel, go handle the wildlife side of it. So I get over there, and inside of this car where these 2 kids were at, it's full of spent casings from 30-06, 22 long rifle, 9mm handgun, 20 gauge shotgun. And it's just full. Like they had a shootout in their car. And so once dads get there, I talked to the first kid's dad. I really don't have a whole lot, on either of their side. So, I just say, hey, I'll be in contact with you guys. And I sent him home because arresting a juvenile in Oklahoma, is hard.
Of course. Yeah.
So I was like, hey, I'll just be in contact with you guys. So the second kid's dad showed up, and the second kid is the one that was the owner of all the firearms and the car. Mm-hmm. And whenever his dad got there, I was talking to him and, talked to the kid, and while we're talking, one of the 22 rifles had a scope on it that had a camera. And I said, hey man, where does that camera go to? And he said, oh, it goes to my phone. I was like, can I see it? Will you show me the app? So he opens the app, and the first video we see is them shooting cows. Jeez. So
yeah,
during this, the dad and I watch a few more videos, and I'm like, hey, this is a felony, right? Like we were way past what I was originally here for.
Yeah, a squirrel.
Squirrel.
Yeah.
Right. So during this, we end up going through the phone and seeing a whole bunch of videos of them shooting everything, deer, turkey, everything else. So sees all the evidence, sees the car, sees the guns, take the phone, and write a search warrant and do a preliminary search of the phone of just watching some of those videos and figuring out if there's more evidence to it. So we get done with that, write search warrants for the houses and arrest warrants for the kids. And there's a matrix that we have to do to serve search warrants.
Of course.
If it's violent felonies, which both of them had reckless discharge of a firearm against people. So that's a violent felony. Mm-hmm. And then we had non-violent felonies for shooting cows. And then we had the misdemeanor stuff. Well, then we start going and looking at the houses, and like one house is a marijuana grow attached to it.
Wow.
And so with security cameras and fences and barricaded doors and all of that, it made it so we had to have a TAC team for that, a SWAT team.
Yeah.
So Then we go to the second house because they're cousins. They live 20 miles apart. And so you have to have a second TAC team because you can't hit them separately. You have to hit them at the same time.
Yeah.
So we go to the second house, and it's like a junkyard. And there's cameras and everything else. And all of this goes into our matrix of you have to get a TAC team. So made a phone call. One of the kids is native. He's Cherokee. And so it made sense. Call the Cherokee Nation Marshal Service.
For sure.
Have them send a TAC team up. And we work really well with the Highway Patrol. So the second TAC team, I was trying to get the Highway Patrol to come up. Well, they were training in Arkansas, so they couldn't come. But the commander was like, hey, we're going to make a phone call. I'll have somebody call you. So it's like 9:00 at night. This guy calls me. He goes, hey, I'm Joey. I'll come up there and do the TAC team stuff for you. I was like, cool. And he's asking details about the case and everything else. And I was giving him all the information. I was like, hang on. Hey, Joey, who do you work for? And he goes, oh, the US Marshal Violent Crime Task Force.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, Joey, it's not that kind of warrant. They're kids. Like, I know what you guys, the kind of stuff that you guys normally go after.
Sure.
He's like, it's not a big deal. We'll come handle the case. Like, the charges are good. They have violent felonies, so it's not a big deal for us to come do it. So we ended up getting 2 TAC teams, and then 8 wardens, and Rogers County Sheriff's Office gave us a bunch of guys. We had somebody brought a helicopter. We had like crazy amounts of resources. We had the DEA, Oklahoma Medical Marijuana Authority, OBN. We had all these people show up, and then we went and served 2 search warrants. Arrested both the kids, did interviews and everything else, seized tons of evidence, and then started down the rabbit hole of going through phones and computers and the camera on the rifle and all of that stuff.
Wow. And then, so you knew at that point, I mean, of course you had a really strong case. Then you go and present all this to the district attorney. That's it. Yeah.
So because one's tribal and one's non-tribal.
Oh, there you go.
You have 2 separate jurisdictions.
Okay.
So for the kid that lived in Foyle, he's not native. So we took all of his stuff to the district attorney. And then everything else had to go to the attorney general for the Cherokee Nation. Yeah.
Yeah. And they take these things seriously as well. Right. Well, this is unfortunate. I say that it's unfortunate these kids got involved doing stupid stuff, but it sounds like they didn't. I don't know. The parents showed up to at least when you got a hold of them.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and both parents said, we didn't raise our kids this way. They were taught better than this. And I feel like that's a lot of things that I hear constantly. Yeah. My kid wouldn't do that or something. And a lot of it's, failing to supervise your kids.
For sure.
When your kid is 16, they don't need a carload of guns and all the time in the world. Because this wasn't a one-time thing. During the course of the investigation, we figured out that they went over there around 15 times.
Wow.
And between their Google Maps tracking, and then the number of videos and the dates and the times.
Wow. So it's just horrific. And with situations like this, you hope that they learn their lesson, right? But who knows? Right?
Who knows? So right now they're both on probation. So once that's finally done with, they'll both be 18, and hopefully, this is the last bad encounter they have with law enforcement. That's our hope for everybody. That being said, if it continues to be an issue, then they already have felonies on their records. So like possession of firearms and stuff like that is going to be hard for them. They may be able to petition their rights back later. And stuff with juveniles in Oklahoma is weird too, as far as like a lot of their stuff gets sealed, so nobody can see it.
Yeah.
So being able to like prove that they can't have a firearm and stuff later is going to be difficult without running you have to have a very specific reason to run a very specific program to look into their past. Yeah.
So how much was the restitution on this? I mean, how many dollars amounts. It should have, I mean, it's a lot, right?
So the presentation that came from the Oklahoma Cattlemen's Association for the 18 cows, and then the recommended amount that we have to the legislature was $1 million.
It's a lot.
It's a lot
For a 16-year-old.
for 16. Well, yeah, for two of them. But yeah, so when you start adding up everything, a deer, the recommended restitution on a white-tailed doe is $1,500. And then it's on cattle. The state statute it is 3 times the fair market value of that cow. 2025 was the wrong year to be shooting cows.
Sure.
Because prices increased 300% on those cattle. So what used to be a $2,000 cow, those cattle were going for $5,000 at the time, and then you get 3 times the fair market value.
Yeah. Wow. And well, I'm going to go back a little bit. I want to say thank you to your wife. Because it takes a lot of patience.
It does.
Right? To have a law enforcement husband or wife or whatever, because you can get called up at any time to go do something.
There's been quite a few nights where I get called out in the middle of the night or get called out early or,
wow.
Anything else. And it's never a convenient time.
No, it's yeah, you're right. People break laws at all times of the day. And it's never convenient.
Never convenient.
On your time, right? It's on their time, unfortunately. Wow. And as you go forward, you're probably going to end up breaking. This is a lot of money to have fined someone. And I'm sure that with your skills and aptitude, you're going to end up breaking that record soon.
I hope not. This was a giant case.
Yeah.
We had over 50 officers on the raids, and then over the course of the initial raids happened April 17th of last year, and I didn't get done with my investigation until August.
Wow.
So I think I had 300 hours billed to the department on this case. Just myself.
And you're just sitting there and some of this you're just going through a phone. You're just like, it's slow and rigorous. I mean, the TV will show a detective or someone working a case, and it looks like they've got a big panel of screens and they're telling people to zoom in, but it's really not like that.
It's not like that. I had 2 monitors. Oh, so the other issue. Okay. So 16-year-olds nowadays take inappropriate home videos.
Okay. Yeah.
And pictures.
Yeah.
So if it was an adult, it wouldn't be a big deal. But because they're minors, you get into child sexual abuse material or CSAM.
Yeah.
So I can't just plug my hard drive that has everything downloaded onto it into my work computer. You have to use what's called a dirty computer. And the Department of Wildlife does not own a dirty computer.
Yeah.
We don't need to. Most of our cases don't involve CSAM.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a slippery slope because they have to be very closely guarded.
Of course.
So this is where we turn to the OSBI, so Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation. Now, again, this is one of those cases, they were busy. So they called a friend that works at Homeland Security. So I ended up working with Homeland Security on this to get this case solved.
Yeah.
So they have an office in Tulsa, and I'd have to drive to Tulsa several days a week to go work this case because I'd have to use their computer to pull off all the evidence.
That is amazing. So, and I think that's kind of shows the level of skill you have to have, and also just being able to work with other law enforcement agencies and what this case can, I mean, who knows? Yeah, it was, at the end of the day, probably the most expensive thing was the shooting the cows, but it could have been anything. And be able to have that working relationship with Homeland Security and OSBI, and it sounds like a game warden's a lot of times the front line to something that could be
major. So, well, and the sheriff's office, they didn't know what they had, and they didn't know to ask the right questions.
Yeah.
Most of the time, wildlife crime, it's a simple misdemeanor. And if I didn't know what I was looking for on the camera, the sheriff's office didn't know to look for cows being shot or anything, or to look at it. And whenever I was a deputy, it was kind of the same thing. Like there was a lot of crimes that you kind of take what you can get because you're going to the next call in 5 minutes. So you either get this call handled or you pass it off to a detective.
Yeah. Wow. And, with the wildlife department, you're running the detective side of things as well, right? So we don't have necessarily detectives on the job. We just have
we have some investigators, but it's not a full-time gig. They're still a warden.
It's the duties above and beyond. Yeah.
Right.
Included too. Yeah, I understand. Wow, thanks for that story. It's unfortunate that had to happen. Glad that you were there. Thankful to your family, your wife being able to at least understand.
Yeah.
Thankful to you too for doing that. That's wow. Thanks for so much hard work. Now, I asked you at the beginning of this, do you have a tip? I mean, it's before I even started recording, and you brought something up. What is that tip for our viewers?
Wear permethrin and off. Put permethrin on your clothes and then off on the skin. You don't want to get alpha gal or Lyme disease or any of the other nasty things that you can get from being outdoors. And it doesn't matter if you're just out in the yard. Like if you, I have a hay pasture and it's got ticks in it. So like wear your stuff that's going to protect you. And I think one of the worst things that you could do is get alpha gal or Lyme disease.
Yeah. And I think we grew up with so many of us just using off, and off has DEET in it and it works great, but it's a repellent. Whereas permethrin actually will kill a tick. And it's actually old. I didn't realize it was as old as it is, but of course they didn't call it permethrin. But there shows signs of it being used 400 BC.
Wow.
They recognize because it comes from a Carmathian flower. It's an extract from that. And of course, back in the day, people were sort of holistic and they used flowers or whatever they used. And they recognized these flowers kept certain bugs and insects away. Even saw that Napoleon used it with his troops to keep the lice off them. So it's before Jesus' time, permethrin has been around. There you go. So thanks for that tip. I think that's good to be conscious of that. You can soak your socks with it. I'm constantly spraying my boots with permethrin and letting it dry. And it helps. Yep.
And I spray it on my hunting clothes, my work uniforms, like my duty uniforms, all have permethrin on the pants, and then my sleeves, just because I couldn't think of anything worse than not being able to enjoy a hamburger or something.
Yeah, for sure. There is actually services out there, and I'm not going to advertise them, but if you use the internet to search these places up, but you can send your clothes in and they'll treat them. So for instance, a lot of through hikers of the Appalachian Trail, which, there are thousands of miles on that trail in eastern United States. I mean, that's where a lot of this stuff is, as it's moving west, it's coming from that area, these tick-borne illnesses. And people are doing thousands of miles on this Appalachian Trail and not having one tick on them because they're using permethrin. So it works.
It works.
It's not weird stuff, but anyway. But don't get it around your cats. It's a big deal. Don't get it around your cats. It's very toxic to them. Well, Dartanion, thanks for coming on. I know you drove a long way down, but I think it's worth it for people to see such an amazing game warden. And thanks for watching. For those that don't subscribe. Share it with this podcast with your friends and family so they can subscribe and hear these amazing stories that our game wardens tell. So thanks again for watching. And until next time, some Warden Stories.